Hey guys, how are you all doing? Happy Saturday, June 14th to you. Natalie's over here filling in for Krista tonight. How you doing tonight, Natalie?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. This is going to be we're doing a little different this week. We're doing a pre-recorded show. We cannot manage to do a live. So we're going to give you something instead of having no show. And I've been wanting to get Mandy from Ghost Sisters on here for a while. We had it scheduled before, and we had to reschedule it. Can't remember why, but I had to reschedule it. So we got her tonight. So I'm looking forward to this one. Mandy is with Ghost Sisters Paranormal of Ohio.
I'm excited. I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah, it's they're really interesting. Some you go to their. I'll have the links in chat and on the show notes for the page. So make sure you go over to their Facebook page and their YouTube page and subscribe to all that. So it's very awesome stuff. So, but before we get going, I want to, and we will both be at this conference in September, Crossing Realms Conference. We're going to talk UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, all kinds of fun stuff. You want it, we got it there for you.
Yep,
September
Bigfoot,
19th. Yep.
Skunk apes,
Mothman. It's going to be a fun week. And you know what? It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's going to be September 19th and 20th. So the meet and greet with the hosts and the guests and the speakers is going to be on the 19th. Conference is on the 20th. Thursday is going to be every conference has like an after party. But since our conference is on Saturday and everybody's going to be going home on Sunday, we're doing a pre-conference party on Thursday. And there's talk about karaoke and stuff. So
yeah, I may need to have some liquid courage there.
I know I would. And even with that, I don't know if there is enough to get me up on stage to sing. Although there is one song that I really do want to sing, but I'm not going to share it with anybody. It's a very interesting, fun song to play and stuff. And I know they do it on karaoke all the time.
But, I Will Survive. I know that's your song.
Yeah, you got it. And your address and everything. You got no, that's not it. But I don't know if we'll see it on that Thursday or not. But
okay, all right. Well, Krista told me I've got to get up with her, and I told her I needed a whole lot of liquor to do that. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to sing "We Are the World."
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
No. Anyway, let's bring Mandy out here. And talk some paranormal stuff. Mandy, there you are.
Mandy. Hi, Mandy.
How you doing?
Hi, guys. I'm doing good. How are you guys? I actually just switched over to my Verizon box, so I'm hoping we don't have no freezing issues.
And beforehand, you froze, I froze. Natalie, you're the only one that hasn't frozen yet.
Not yet. Knock on wood.
So hopefully everything works out. You have some storms in the area going through Ohio there. So we'll power through it. We'll power through it. So. But Mandy, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you, and I'm very glad that we had the chance to connect here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Sure, absolutely. So the first question I always ask, how long have you been doing this? Let's talk about the ghost hunting. You do more than just ghost hunting, but let's focus on the ghost hunting first. How long have you been doing that?
Mm-hmm. Since 2017.
And it's you and your sisters?
Yes, my biological sisters.
Okay. And you kind of mentioned that there's not a whole lot of all-female teams going out and about looking for this. What made you all three do this together?
Me. I'm the one that started everything. I started everything. I've been dealing with spirits since I was probably 9 and 10. So I've always had something going on my whole life. And, since the time I was young till like now. And So one day, one day I contacted my sister. I always wanted to go to the Mansfield prison. And, I worked in law enforcement for 8 years. So at that time I was still in law enforcement, and I was just so intrigued with this prison. So I contacted my sister and I said, hey, I'm going to this prison and I'm not going alone. You're going with me. And so she
What'd
went.
she say?
She was like, what? She's like, are you serious? I said, yeah, it's happening. And, I wasn't a paranormal investigator. I had no equipment. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to order, I ordered the SB7 spirit box and a geophone, and just had a flashlight, and my sergeant let me wear his GoPro, and we loved it. We captured so much stuff. It was just so amazing. And we went live. We never knew what live was that long ago. We just thought it just started. That was something that just came out on Facebook. So we tried it out. So we're like going back. Sometimes we go back and look at that, and it's funny because we're still the same. We argue and bicker. We're sisters, when we're out there, we're just authentic. We're keeping it. We're just being our true selves, and nothing's changed. Nothing. Let me tell you. But I do have to tell you, we did capture some amazing evidence there. First time ever doing an investigation.
Really?
Wow.
We captured with the lights on before they even turned out the lights. I caught it. I had the GoPro on, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. But I kept hearing a man. He kept saying, hey, and I'm like, I'm looking around, but I'm not seeing him. I told Chastity, I said, man, I keep hearing this guy. Next thing I know, we didn't see him, but I kept hearing it. So I didn't see him, kept hearing him. But after our investigation, I gave the GoPro over to my sergeant. He reviewed the video. He said, Mandy, you guys got something right in the beginning. And I'm like, what? And he said, check this out. So down in Solitary, there was a man walking at the end of the hallway, back and forth, pacing, and he was all back. So we believe this was Frank, the guard, and he was. Some people say that's where he died, was down there, but that's where he was. He was stabbed to death down there, but I think he died on the way to the hospital. And then we captured a shadow figure also right in the middle of the hallway.
Wow.
So something was telling me to keep this evidence. I didn't know why. And just 3 years ago, because of my evidence, that landed us on Ghost Brothers. So we're on Ghost Brothers with them, Ghost Sisters.
Nice.
Very cool.
The Shank, when they went there.
Yeah.
And we captured some really good evidence. So they brought us on.
That is awesome that your first trip out, you got something. And that doesn't always happen. I mean, you go to places and you don't always get something, but that is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh.
Really?
Was your sister as excited, or was she scared?
She was excited, but she drove me nuts. She drives me nuts on investigations because she's one of these people who's fast to everything. If something's not happening, okay, let's go to the next room. Okay, let's do this. She can't sit still. She's and well, she's walking so fast on the tiers, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I kept feeling these energies all around me, and it was really scaring me because it was so much up on me, and I'm like, would you please slow down? I'm really nervous. And she's just so far ahead of me. And I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared to death.
I bet.
Was it just you two in the prison, or was there other people around it?
There was other people that ended up coming. We were not completely alone, but we was when we were in Solitary. Matter of fact, we wasn't even supposed to be down in Solitary. We kind of snuck down there.
Yeah. And glad you did.
Yeah. And even with all the equipment that's available, to investigators and stuff, sometimes it's just best you get more evidence when you just have minimal stuff.
Oh yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like like what you did on your first try. You know, my
Mhm.
first try, I got somebody whispering. I was in like a boiler room where some old man died or something, and you know, I have the dead bell and my camera, and that's it. And you know, I'm talking, and all of a sudden, I'm walking up the steps. I didn't hear this there, but something was whispering, "We're watching," or "We're
Oh,
here," or something like that. So like, oh God. So yeah, I mean, first time out, that's pretty darn amazing.
yeah.
So you mentioned seeing stuff when you were 9, 10 years old. What do you remember seeing back then?
At 9 and 10, I was experiencing more of like somebody was watching me. I knew there was something around me. And then when I was like 11 years old, my brother was killed, and he was 15 at the time,
I'm
and he was
sorry.
about to turn 16. And I come from a big Italian family. I got a big family and a lot of sisters, brothers. And that was my oldest brother, and I'm the third child born. And so I was really close to him, and that was really hard. And he was actually the first one to actually let me know that what I had been experiencing was real, because he literally came back and was scaring the crap out of me, which he always did as a big brother, you know. But what he ended up doing was just crazy. The radio, his old bedroom, I ended up moving into his old bedroom, and that bedroom was crazy. You would hear somebody walking around in it, and I had a boom box, you know, back then. This would have been in 1990, 91, something like that. Yeah. And so then they had the old boom boxes, right? And we always listened to the Blitz. That's what we did at night. That was how we fell asleep, listening to rock and roll, the Blitz. And next thing I know, my radio would turn off and on. And I was like, what is going on? You know, it just kept turning down low and then go high. And we'd be downstairs with the family, and you would hear somebody walking around above, which was my brother's old bedroom. And it was just all the time. And later on, when I became 18 years old, he was messing with my TV. And we had one of those big back old TVs, you know, back in the day, back in the 90s.
Rear projection ones. Yep.
Yeah, the big ones. I didn't understand at the time what was going on. And my TV kept doing weird stuff. I thought it was just the cable was messing up. I would see my TV screen go black, and like a bunch of numbers and letters was just going like all over. I was like, what is going on? I'm like, is the cable messed up? It just wasn't dawning on me. My toys would go off and on in the middle of the night. I knew there was a spirit. I knew, you know. And after that was going on, we ended up moving to a bigger house. And at that time, it was 1998, May 7th, on my brother's birthday. I was inside watching Bart Simpson with my 2 children. And my kids' dad was out in the garage working on the truck with his father. Earlier that day, I wanted to go out to my brother's grave and plant flowers, but I couldn't because they were working on the vehicle, and I was a little upset about that. But so I was inside, and it was exactly 5:00 p.m. All of a sudden, my TV went black, and I seen my brother's name in big bold letters saying Sean, 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 Sean. And I was like, I just was blown away. Yeah. I go out to the garage. I get my kids' dad. He didn't believe in nothing like that. And he came inside. Bart Simpson comes right back on. I'm like, oh gosh, he's thinking I'm just, he's thinking I'm overreacting, and it's his birthday, my brother's birthday. And soon as he went out to the garage and shut the door, you guys, it came on, and it stayed on for 45 minutes. Now, I did go out there and get him, and he came in, and he looked at me, and he looked at the TV. He was like, I mean, his jaw just dropped, and he just sat down on the chair, and he was like, Mandy, what's going on? I said, I told you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So his dad comes in, he's an old timer, and he's like, what's going on in here? He says, well, today's May's brother's birthday and he's dead. And his name's going crazy on the TV. His dad looked at that TV, threw his hands up in the air and walked out. He says, I don't want to be part of this.
Wow.
So needless to say, it did it for 45 minutes. I'm calling up my family. They're freaking out. They're like, don't leave. He could be trying to warn you and tell you something could happen. I'm like, oh, geez, they're really freaking me out. And I didn't understand it. But what ended up happening a couple days later, I kept getting this urge, like somebody was urging me to rearrange my living room. So I did. And that day I had my best friend came over and we were outside and the kids were playing. She went inside to get a drink of water. Now there was a weird smell going on in the house and I thought something crawled underneath the porch and died or something. And my kids' dad's like, yeah, that might be a dead animal underneath the porch. I'm like, oh, it's awful. Well, when he was at work the next day and my friend came over, she went inside to get a glass of water. She walked down the hallway to go to the kitchen. And where I used to have my entertainment stand, it was up against a wall that had a plug-in behind it. It had melted in and was burning. It about caught on fire. And that's what that smell was. And my brother was trying to warn me. That's the craziest.
Wow.
That was so crazy.
Wow.
And we had to call the fire department. They said your house almost burnt down if you wouldn't have called us. Yeah. And
he was looking out for his little sister. That's an incredible story.
I know that's just, yeah. So it just got crazier after that. He still was coming around. And that I've always been intrigued ever since. I always had something scary going on with spirits and stuff. And I drove my family nuts. I'm not gonna lie to you, because nobody could tell me. They didn't understand why I was having all these experiences, and they weren't.
So did your sister and your parents, your sisters and your parents, believe you at all then?
My sisters definitely did. I think my mom I think she believed, but she was in denial maybe. But, I found out later in life, my mother is someone who's had premonitions and she would have dreams and then it was happening. And she has seen spirits. I'm like, really? So
you shared it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have given you a heads up.
Yeah. So my other sister is kind of skeptical, but she's actually seen this cracks me up. My sister is on my team. She's skeptical, but she's kind of a believer, and she's even heard spirits and seen them, and she still questions, things. She's an empath. She does feel a lot of things. And my sister Chastity, she's just a paranormal investigator.
So I have to ask you, when you go out on these investigations, do you think your brother is there protecting you?
That's crazy you say that, because I have been around some really crazy stuff out there and in some of the most haunted locations and done some crazy stuff. And I really feel like my brother and my father is with me. I really do. Because I can honestly say I've never been pushed. Now I've been scratched twice, but I don't look at that as something evil. I look at it as spirits trying to get my attention. They that's another way they will sometimes reach out. They can't do a whole lot more. They can touch you, and sometimes just scratching you is like, hey, we're trying to get your attention.
And the reason I ask you that is when I go out, I know, well, my dad's been seen, not by me, but by others that are watching on the live or whatever. If we do that, I know that they're there. I can sense that they're there and they're protecting me too. So that's kind of the reason why I asked that one.
Yeah. Have you ever had anything follow you home, or do you do anything to prevent that from happening?
Listen, I learned that no matter how much you tell them, hey, you got to stay here, you can't follow us or this, and they were people once too. They will do what they want. If they want to follow you, they'll follow you. And they follow me here. Like as soon as I get in the door, they're yelling my name. And I'm like, oh, yeah. But they never stay for long. They seem to just hang around a little bit. want me to acknowledge them more. And then they just kind of go wherever they want. I guess go back to wherever. But yeah, they definitely followed me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's talk about getting scratched. When did this, well, you said twice. When did these instances happen?
Let's see. God, I've been doing this so long. Let me see. There was one incident in Ohio. We were at a arcade place. It was called Planet 14. Very huge place. It was an arcade. It's still there, where you can go play them old video games, you know. And then next to it, there's like a 3-story a house, and it used to be, there was a movie theater over there, and kind of like I wouldn't say a Mason's, but it could have been a Mason's. That's where it happened for me. I was over there, and I don't know, I just felt something, and I looked down on my arm, and I said, what the? I was like, oh my gosh, because, you know, everybody talks about the 3 marks, and I looked down and said, I got 3 marks on me.
Wow.
But I didn't feel like it was anything negative. I probably was in a man's territory, because there was a bar up there and a man's club, a woman in a man's club. So probably didn't want me there, or trying to get attention.
It didn't burn or anything, did it?
Yeah, actually, that's how I noticed it was there. I didn't even know it was there until I felt like a burning mark on me. And actually, it was in the summertime, and that's when I looked down. I was like, "What?" And I had the 3 marks, not like really deep marks, you know, but they were there. It just looked like almost like something just scratched me enough to where I could see it and feel it.
Just get your attention, probably.
Yeah.
Get you out of there, or make you think about going any further.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for that, Spirit. I stayed longer.
Because you can.
That's right.
But you know what? You were a correction officer. I don't think I would mess with that. Yeah. Okay. Just as long as you want, you know, go over there. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Around.
I had stuff happen to me working in law enforcement too. That was a lot to deal with too.
Really?
Oh,
Can you talk about that, or?
Oh yeah. I can see. I retired about 5 years ago from law enforcement. I miss it so much. And so I could pursue getting out there more and doing what I'm doing. And my husband, now he still works. He's a captain. So it's all good. I just can't mention the place I was at, but I can tell you that I experienced a lot. So I would be in a control room, and our jail is huge. It has men and women. I mean, it's huge. And Central's where it controls the whole jail, everything that's going on, the cops coming in the back door to booking, everything. You're in control of everything. I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm hearing Spirit is telling me, signal 4. I'm like, no signals, please, because signal's not good. And somebody's hurt. An inmate could be down, or an officer could be hurt, like with their health, or they, who knows, it could have done something horrible to themselves. So it wasn't, as soon as I heard that, signal 4 come across the radio. So that was one of the incidents. And this would happen to me a lot. I'd be walking through the blocks, and I'd hear Spirit say signal 3. And I'm like, oh God, no. And it would happen. So I was getting it a lot. I've had my radio, my walkie-talkie. This guy, something was messing with the walkie-talkie. And I'm like, this was definitely not our traffic. And this was on a holiday. So there was only 8 officers there. And one of them was my sergeant. And I know the people's voices, right? So I'm hearing this weird guy come through the radio, and I'm like, what the hell was that? So I call down to male control, and I'm like, hey, you guys messing with your mic? Did someone key their mic? They're like, no, Mandy, we were actually about to call you because did you hear that come over to the radio? Wow. I said, yes. Like, what was that? And nobody knew, and we couldn't figure it out, but it definitely wasn't none of the officers. So
Wow.
another time, I walked into male control, the male union housing unit where the males were, and as soon as I walked in, there was something that was on the shelf just went flying off right in front of me. I was like, oh Lord. And another time this was on day shift when this right here happened. I was working I went down to give the female officer a break in female housing. And she had told me when I got down there, she said, Mandy, I've been hearing some weird voices down here. She goes, don't you be down here conjuring spirits or whatever. Like, why would I do that? I'm at work, you know? She goes on break, guys, and I sit down. I got about 50 cameras in front of me, and I'm watching. You know, she had the radio on because each station had a radio. We were allowed to listen to music. Well, she had it on a good station, coming in clear. Soon as she left, guys, I kid you not, this radio turns to white noise, and I hear a man come through that radio, and I swear on everything I love, and he says, "Help me." I get up out of my chair and I turn around. I'm the only one in this control room. And I walk towards the radio and he says, "Help me." And I'm like, oh my God. And I said, "Does someone need my help?" Radio kicks back on. That was it.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So they knew the spirits knew I could sense, and I knew they were there, or I'd sometimes see them. If they wanted me to see them, I'd see them. But this is a very active jail. There's been a lot of officers who have seen black shadows and black anomalies, and things have been captured on cameras during, watching cameras at night. And and even the inmates were freaking out. And every time I worked female housing, the inmates would be like, Miss Cummings, they called the female ghost Cookie. That was
Cookie?
The name they gave this female ghost. Yeah, there was an old lady that passed away down there, and they believe she's haunting that place down there because their stuff's going on down there. And I believe them because, I've worked down there. I've heard the woman talking to me and humming in my ears and just doing all kinds of stuff. It's different in an environment like that because that people are doing things and things that's happened to them. And I've saved a lot of lives working in that environment. I've also had something follow me from there. Follow me to an investigation.
Oh, that's not good.
And I captured it on a recorder. So I was working female housing one weekend, and I had an investigation to go to. So I brought my clothes, changed my clothes. I go into the locker room and change my clothes. I'm the only one in there, and I hear like something. Like someone threw like a pebble or something. And it bounced off the lockers. I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh hell no, I'm like sensing something's in there. Well, I go to the restroom, and when I was in the restroom, something knocked it over, and it was very loud. I'm like, oh my God. I go out there and look, and the soap dish was knocked over into the sink, and I was like, oh my God, there's something in here with me. And so I continued to get ready, and I went to my investigation. And at that time, there was another female officer that I worked with who was on my team. And we were at this location in Gallion, Ohio, and we were down in the basement, and I had one of the spirit boxes running. And I told my team, I said, something's following me. I'm telling you, something's following me. Well, it came through the box. I said, do you know my name? And this guy came through there so clear, and I've got this on my social media. He said, Metzger. That was my maiden name.
Wow.
So who calls you by your last name? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Back inmates would call me by my last name.
Yeah.
They would never it was weird. It was like they never wanted to call me Miss Cummings when I got married. They're like, no, we know you as Metzger, and we're gonna call you Metzger. So this was one of them stubborn guys that knew me. And at that time, he called me Metzger. So this happened to me more than once too. So
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know we don't get that a lot.
Is that jail still open?
Oh yeah. My husband, he's the captain of that jail. He runs it.
Okay. So we
Does
can't.
he have any experiences like that there now?
They follow him home. I told him, you got to quit bringing them home because, you know, they want to see me. That's what it is. Because I'm a very down to earth person, and I was always easygoing, and we could joke around. I could joke around with the females and the males, and I just had that with them. I built that with them, and they love me, man, and they coming home with him. And I said, you got to, man, you're bringing home spirits. And
Does he believe in all this stuff too, or?
You know what? He didn't at first, and this house is very active. Actually, in my office we're in right now, there was an old lady that passed away in this office, and this room is very active. So throughout the years, my husband has experienced things in here. He has heard his name being called. He has heard me coughing when I'm not here, when nobody's here. He's heard whistling in this house. We have both witnessed our dog's kennel went like sideways in front of us. One time, another incident, I had something follow me from a haunted location. I was experiencing something and I kept telling him, and I was freaking out because it kept waking me up, growling in my ear, and I could feel it moving under the covers, and told him, I said, something's going on. And sure enough, when I was getting cleaned up, guys, I was getting ready to leave. My husband's yelling at me, and I'm like, what? I got to go. Because I worked first and he worked second at that time. And he goes, Mandy, these covers are moving. He's like, Mandy, look at this. And I looked, and you could see the covers were fluttering. And this guy's like, no, this is crazy. I said, well, have fun. I got to go to work.
I love it.
So he has to
deal with it.
I'm out. See ya. Good luck.
He needs to work. And then he calls me up and he said, I just want to tell you, Mandy, that for 4 hours, this went on for 4 hours. I couldn't sleep. Yeah.
Wow.
They were messing with him.
So, like I said in the beginning, this is a pre-recorded show. I really wish this wasn't. I wish this was live, because a lot of the people that are in the chat can see things, and they've seen stuff here. They've seen stuff in other guests that I've had. I would really, because I can't tell anything. I really wish, and as this is airing right now, I mean, you can chat. So please feel free to comment something if you notice anything, because I can't wait to go back and watch it and see if I can hear anything.
You'd be amazed.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I have all kinds of questions that totally out the window now.
You go first.
Go ahead.
Well, just with your husband and that whole incident, has he had that happen before? And does he know that he's bringing stuff home? Or not until after?
He's never had that happen before. And he doesn't think about it. It doesn't, and it's not something it's very interesting, because my husband is one of those guys, like, he knows something when something's going on, when something's not right. He doesn't consider himself anything, just a regular guy, but his intuition is really good. So he can sense when stuff's about to happen, and it usually does at work. But other than that, he does not have a clue that he's bringing them home. And I tell him he is, definitely.
And you have children?
I said they need to go. I have children, 3.
So do
my daughter
experience anything?
Yes, throughout the years, even before I became a paranormal investigator, I've lived in some everywhere I've lived, guys. I used to think it was me. I was like, what? I've had so much happen throughout my life. I've actually started writing a book. I've wrote down everything I can remember. Just haven't published anything. Yeah. And so many crazy things that was going on. I had to write down everything or nobody would believe me. But my family knew. But yeah, I found out, this wasn't me. It was, it was a little bit of me, but the houses where I was living was very, very active. And then me being a sensitive, being an empath, a medium, that didn't help. So it was like they knew that I could see or sense them or hear them. So, which was picking up the activity. My children would witness it too. They were terrified. I'm like, oh
Really? I
no,
bet they were.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my God. That's
scared to death. Because when you're
Yeah.
experiencing that alarm clock, I've had alarm clocks talk to me, guys. I know that sounds crazy, but listen, I swear on everything. I've had some supernatural things happen to me that you would have to be there to believe it. Just like with the TV with my brother's name going
Yeah.
across it. 2 people witnessed that besides me, thank God.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys, later on, I forgot to tell you about this. That TV, after me and my kids' father split up, he took that TV with him. And every time he would turn that TV on, my brother's name was going crazy. We couldn't explain it. My brother didn't like him, is the only thing I could say.
Mm.
yeah, they're cool.
That'll teach him, huh?
Yeah, they use electronics to communicate, and that's why I love my spirit boxes that I use, because I had all this happening to me before they even had these devices. You know, I had this going on years ago, so I always knew that they were they had to have energy to do that. You know,
Yeah.
some don't believe in boxes,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Have you always known that you were an empath? Or a medium?
Yeah, not a medium, but I've always known that I was very sensitive. I've
Yeah.
always known that. And I didn't understand what was going on, in my teenage years. I knew something was going on, because, when you have traumatic things that's happened in your life, that can like open the doors, things that shouldn't happen. And I had 2 traumatic things that had happened to me. And I believe that just increased everything for me. And, but later in life, I did find out from my mother that my great grandmother was Blackfoot Native American. So, and I believe I got it from her. I think it came mainly from her. And then my mother was telling me that she had experiences too. So,
Awesome.
but I didn't know.
Wow.
Awesome.
Not until I actually started my mediumship before I started my paranormal team. And how that came, guys, how this became was my daughter was experiencing things in this house that was scaring her so bad. She was seeing things. She was a teenager. Her father, I'm just going to say her father, and she was 9. So she at that time was going through, like, that was something traumatic for her. So when we moved in this house, she started seeing and hearing the things, and it was really scaring her, and it was freaking me out, because I'm like, I know that she's really experiencing this because of things that I've been through, and I didn't want to deny her of that. So I ended up talking to a psychic medium over in Ireland, right? And I tell him, this is what my daughter's experiencing. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? Why is this happening? He said, Mandy, he said, you are a natural medium. That's why this is happening. They're trying to reach out to you, and you're having all these experiences, and your daughter is a psychic medium. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, and it just went from there. And he said, I can help you if you want to tap into this more. And he mentored me for a whole year, and it went from there, guys. And I swear to you, everything just aligned after my mediumship. I started my team. I actually started my team a week after I went to that prison. So, and it just went from there.
So
Wow.
That's what did it.
I always find mediums to be very, very interesting. And about a year ago, I had like 5 different mediums on in a row on the show or something like that. But I've always been fascinated by that. So yeah, is your daughter still seeing
gosh,
things or
oh yeah.
really?
Listen, I could write a book itself on the things in this house that's been seen and heard. We've all seen the spirit in this house. We've all seen it. But my daughter was, as she became a teenager, it was getting really, really bad for her. And I was showing about the chakras and how to protect myself and to protect her. But she was really going through it, and it was bad. Worse than, I never went through it like that. I guess, I don't know, I handled it differently, but it was bad. And I would try to help her, and she would, in this very room, this was actually her room, she would tell me that she was seeing spirits coming up through the floor, through the walls, and they wouldn't leave her alone. And I told my mentor at that time, I said, look, she's really experiencing some crazy stuff. And he said, you want to know what your daughter's saying to these spirits? I'm like, oh God, what is she saying? She was telling them to F off. They wouldn't leave her alone. Wow. Yeah, she's a teenager. I'm like, and this was really funny, guys, because I said something to her. I said, Allison, what are you saying to the spirits when they're bugging you? When you're, I said, are you telling them to F off? And her jaw dropped. Like, how did you know this?
Wow.
And she got upset. She said, Mom, they won't leave me alone. That she was seeing them at school. She was seeing them around her teachers. I couldn't take her anywhere. She was seeing them everywhere. She'd be driving down the road. They were crossing the street right here on our road. She would call me up, slamming on her brakes. I thought she was in an accident because the spirit literally walked across from the cornfield right in front of her in a white gown. And she thought it was a person.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't. But she don't want no part of it. She don't like it. She does not like it, guys. She says, you can have it.
Yeah.
I would think that's one of those things where you either enjoy it and really like it, or you don't at all. There's no in between. There's no medium.
Yeah. She wasn't liking it at all.
Especially when you can't distinguish between a spirit and a real person because it's so real.
Yeah.
Wow.
She would hold up traffic. She was holding up traffic. Yeah. One time she was in town and she said, Mom, I was in the middle of traffic. I literally seen this old man walking across the street. And I thought it was a real old man, and it wasn't. And I was holding up traffic and everybody's honking at me. She said it just vanished. My God. So that she only experienced that twice, but dang,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, good that she didn't want to hit an old man, but I mean,
wow. I'm in the traffic. This old man's walking across the street.
How is she dealing with it now? I mean, is she okay or?
She still don't like it. She has stuff that flies, like knocks off the shelf around her. Well, it's crazy because when she was going through that, both of us, when we were together, we would hear the spirits. It was pretty cool. We both like, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
But she has kids of her own, and she has identical twins, and they're girls, and they are seeing spirits and hearing them.
Oh,
wow.
Yes, they are. They haven't even. They are seeing their grandpa that they never even got to meet. And they'll go right over to a picture when they come to my house. They never even met my father. My dad was the type who would say, "Call me Papaw, Pap, Pap, Pap," and he'd say, "Pap, Pap, Pap." Yeah. They went right over to my dad's picture and pointed at him and said, "Pap, Pap, 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 Pap."
Oh,
and I'm like, they had no idea.
They're only 3. They had no idea, And my daughter would tell me when they were little, they would look up in the corner and just stare and then start laughing and giggling and just, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably your grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. They're all experiencing it, and my son has seen spirits in the military.
Wow.
He's an empath. He don't call himself that, but he's sensitive. My other daughter, she ignores whatever is going on around her. She don't get into it. She don't talk about it.
Acknowledge it. Yeah.
She's seen things, but never,
Wow.
Wow. Maybe she has the ability just to shut it off.
I took her to the prison and she seen something that scared her really bad. And I think after that,
So, going into this interview, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to talk about your investigations and stuff. And I know you've been seeing stuff since you were a kid. I had no idea it would go this way, and talking about your basically your whole family almost.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I do have, if you guys want to know about a couple ghost things that happened out there, I could tell you if you want to hear it.
Well, yeah, we're definitely gonna get into that. And you know what? I have to say, and you said you were Italian. You don't talk with your hands that much.
Really? Because I noticed I usually do. I'm always doing this.
It hasn't. Once you said Italian, I was kind of watching. I'm like, no, I didn't see it that much. But I'm
on my father's side, his mother, she's full-blood Italian, my grandmother, and my dad's dad was half or full-blooded German. So my dad was half Italian and half German. But my grandmother, Mary Avatino, I look so much like her. I've had my blood work done, and I have more Italian in me than I do anything. I think I'm like,
really?
I want to say, I think I'm 15%.
Wow. Well, it's not in your hands.
No, it's the dark hair, and it's the eyes, and maybe the complexion. And I definitely am built like my grandmother. Definitely.
Okay. So, I've noticed on Facebook, just about every time I turn around, you are doing a live someplace. You go out quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah, I try to. If I could go out every night, I would.
Wow. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of not working in law enforcement no more.
Yeah.
So.
And being retired at a very young age.
Yeah.
What are some of the really spooky or really cool places that you've been to?
Well, I'll tell you, one of my I want to say it was last year in November. I got a big opportunity, and I'm very blessed I had the opportunity. And I don't want to name drop, but I'm gonna just, it doesn't matter. I'll name drop right now. I was with my friend Sherry Dimadetti from TAPS, and Jason Halls was there with my good friend JV. They've been doing their show. They got a show on YouTube they do, Jason and JV. And I was invited to come, and because I'm friends with Sherry, me and her's done lives and stuff. And I've actually went to Salem and hung out with Sherry. She's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah. So I was invited, and I was really happy that I was invited to go. But I'm like, wait a minute now. You guys know I'm a medium. Y'all don't deal with mediums. So you sure you want me to come? I'm like, yeah. Are you sure? And they were like, yeah. So me and Sherry was filming. We didn't film with Jason and JV. They had their thing and we had ours. Mm-hmm. So I was invited to a couple places, which was really cool. And one of these places was the Sterling coal mine in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Let me tell y'all now, this was very, very active. Me and Sherry both. Oh my God. So we were in the coal mine, and I'm the type of medium, I will see them in my mind, or I'll see them if they want me to see them with my eyes. I'll see them like they're right here. Well, we're in the, I guess, tunnel, cave, whatever. And this is a huge place, and we're walking around, and we both have camcorders recording everything. And next thing I know, we had an active night, but the next thing I know, the activity was really increasing. Like they were draining our cameras. Like as soon as we had a battery in, it was like gone, and we'd have to change out. I'm like, girl, they're pulling energy big time. So it was probably about half an hour after one of my camera had just died, and we changed it. We start to walk, and all of a sudden we're standing there, and we're like right next to each other. We both hear this guy talking. He's like, I don't know, he's saying something. I think he was yelling at us, to be honest. And we look down there, and we're like going like, what the heck? And we got our cameras down there. And this guy takes his camera, and he goes, and he points it like that. It just went like that. This guy was tall. He was broad shoulders. He had no hair. And I instantly thought, is this Jason? She goes, no, Mandy. She goes, Mandy. She goes, Jason would never do that to me. He would never interrupt me when I'm investigating. Mm-hmm. And we didn't hear nobody walk in the door. Plus, this guy came from out of the wall. He literally from the were just so intrigued. And I was like, oh my gosh, we were both seeing this apparition at the same time. No joke. No joke.
Wow.
We got it on our cameras too. And I'm still waiting for her to get that episode up. She got the first one we did at another mansion. She hasn't got this one done yet. I've been waiting on her. But anyway, we walked down there. We're like, oh, let's go down there because it just vanished, right? We get down there and you can feel the energy like static. Like I said, Sherry, man, I don't know. I said, be careful. If someone's down there, they might jump out because we're still thinking it was so clear. Are we really seeing spirit, you know? And we got down there and we're watching the whole time. We get down there right where we seen it. Nothing was there. And actually there was this wall over here to the right. There was the doors straight ahead. And right to the right, there was an opening. But there was no way they could have came out because the only thing that was there on the ground was a hole with a ladder on it with a dummy, a fake miner. And I was like, whoa, Sherry, we just caught something. We both did on camera. And we did. Wow. So
that's
that
crazy.
Was really, it was very impressive to me. That was very freaky. You know, that don't happen a whole lot on investigations. I have seen shadow figures and maybe seen something once out of the corner of my eye, but that was intense because someone else was with me and they were seeing the same thing.
I'm sure that was terrifying. How long did he hang around?
That guy, I swear, it just seemed like, you know, when you're seeing something like that, it seems like it's forever. It's literally like maybe 15 seconds. I mean, he was standing there. You could see him from the waist up. Big guy. And women were not allowed in the mine, in the you know, coal mines. Oh. They were considered, you know, bad luck. Women were considered bad luck, and we were in the mines. And I feel like that was one of the miners, and I think he's the one that was draining all my energy, or my, well, he was doing that too, all my battery to get enough energy to manifest, and he did.
Wow.
That's crazy. This is weird because the funny thing that you brought up a mine. I was watching, I can't remember what, it might have been on a History Channel or something this morning about a mine. It was really kind of weird that you brought that up. That, I mean, I had no idea. That was it's crazy. It's just crazy.
If you ever get a chance to investigate a coal mine, do it. Especially you, Natalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't because I've as I've gotten older, I've developed a claustrophobia, and I cannot go underground. I can't. I did it one time down in Branson, and I'm like, you know what? This could collapse on me. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I'll be in West Virginia at the end of the month, so I might take a little little travel over to a coal mine, an abandoned coal mine, see what I can find out.
Oh boy. I mean, you might get something. So that was crazy. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, that makes sense. A lot of energy down there. I mean,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people
they had
have
crystals
died.
everywhere. Crystals in the cave, guys. There was crystals everywhere. They would glow in the dark. They even had a one of the entrances had a like water. It looked like a place you could dive in and just swim. I was like, what in the world? So, you know, water is a kinetic energy source for spirit, and so is it limestone. But the crystals also, they draw energy from the crystals. And it was all over down in those caves.
Wow. The perfect environment.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear anything about, I guess, well, people died down there, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes. They had names because we got to investigate. It was awesome, guys. Not just the coal mine, but we got to investigate their museums they had, and they turned one of their buildings into a museum. And it's where the guys would come in from the mine. They'd literally come in this back door, and they would walk in, and they changed right there. They all had their lockers, and they would change their clothes, and they'd shower in there. And they had all these artifacts in there. People that passed away, every one of them. And me and Sherry got to investigate that, and we kept getting, because again, that she doesn't use a lot of equipment. So I'm using no spirit box, right? I brought mine, but I didn't use it. We only had like the yes or no, she likes the REM pods, so we did use those, but we mainly was just listening, and we heard disembodied voices. We had a lot of bangs going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was a good weekend.
When you go out investigations, I don't like saying ghost hunting because I mean you don't have to hunt for them; they're everywhere. When you go out on investigations, do you use a lot of equipment, or is it just you mostly?
Yeah, I like to be my biggest tool, but I do take. I don't listen. I've got what I call my paranormal closet here,
Mm-hmm.
where I've got stacks and stacks of thousands and thousands of dollars in equipment, and I don't even take everything. I used to set up cameras, and I stopped setting up my cameras because the spirits are. I've captured a shadow figure once on camera, and I've caught an apparition with a GoPro, but that's the only thing I've ever caught. So what I'm noticing is they're coming to me when I'm live, literally coming around me, finding them in my lives, going back later, and you can see them. So I've actually got videos of it on my social media. It's creepy.
Yeah, go to Ghost Sisters on Facebook, and you got a lot of your lives on there. So
And
go through
YouTube
those,
also. Yep.
and YouTube, and go through those. We'll have the links in chat too, so you can go through some of those and everything, and look at all that stuff. And it's fascinating to me that you're just always seem to be on the go, going to these places. Is there a place that you haven't been to that you really want to go to?
Yes. I want to go to Alcatraz.
Oh,
I go out there. I worked in law enforcement, and I'm telling you guys, working in that field and then being a medium on top of it, and I go in, I'll wear my vest, and I'll go in, and I'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm a former corrections officer, whatever. I'm Officer Cummings," and I'll either get some good stuff or they won't mess with me too much. But I usually get a lot of good stuff when I do that.
so I want to let you know. So I'm part of an organization called Haunted Souls, and we do a lot of events. We host a lot of events around the Missouri area, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa.
I've been to
Illinois.
Missouri. Yay!
Yay! Awesome. And you didn't get your hubcap stolen.
Location.
Great. Sorry.
You must have experienced this.
No, actually.
No?
Anyway,
Okay.
that's a different show to talk about that. September 27th, we're hosting a overnight investigation at the Missouri State Penitentiary. It's September 27th, so there you go. Yeah, I will send you the information on that if you're interested.
And you're also holding a festival too.
So,
yes.
Okay, so what is this where you got to buy the tickets and you go and you investigate, or are you inviting me to join this investigation? What is it now? Is it something like that, or?
It's where you have to pay to go see it. I mean, we have all kinds of people. We have like, I think for that we do like, say like 50 or 70 tickets or something like that. I mean, it's a huge place. It has the gas chamber, I believe, that you can go into and actually sit in and investigate there. Well, we'll talk about it later off camera and stuff.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool, and I'm missing out on one that I've never been there. I really want to go. I'm missing out on one, or I missed out on one on the 7th. So I'm kind of upset that I had to work that weekend. But
have you heard of Joliet Prison?
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I've been there too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm fairly new to investigating, so I haven't been to too many places, but I'm definitely going to expand it and everything. So have you ever been to a place that you've been completely disappointed?
I know I have. I mean, I know that every place I go to, I get something I with myself, or I might get a little bit of something, but not a lot. And sometimes I just feel like the spirits there, they get tired of these investigators coming in and, asking the same old thing, and they just, they'll react or they won't,
Yeah.
But it's like one time you'll go, like say I like to go to places more than once, like the same place. A lot of times I do, because I always get more the more I keep going back. So yeah, there's been places where I went and I didn't get a whole lot, but I got a little, but nothing that was like. But when I would go back again, then I would get some really good stuff.
Yeah. Do you, I mean, you kind of touched on this a few seconds ago, that a place can be over investigated. Do you find that with some of the places that you go to a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to most of the asylums. I've been to a lot of the prisons, jails. The prisons and jails are my favorite, and the asylums. But I think some of these places, and I've been to Waverly, and this is one of them that I believe was at least when we went, I felt like it was, we got some stuff, but I think we would have got more. It might have been too many people there. I'm a firm believer if there's too many people that you might get a lot or you ain't going to get much. And we were invited to go with another group. So we bought the tickets because we're a small group, and that's an expensive place to go to. So you got to have that money up front. So we joined, and that particular place, it had stuff there, but I didn't get as much as I thought I was going to get. And again, I feel like it could have been because there might have been too many people.
Yeah.
And look at all the people who go to this place. It doesn't always mean that it's going to, they're not going to get no communication, because I know places that are asylums that get activity. People are booking it out every night during the week and on the weekend, and it's crazy. So it just depends, I think, on the location.
Yeah. And I'm sure the spirits get tired, like you said, same questions over and over again.
And you know what? They choose who they want to talk to, because, again, they were people once. And I'm a firm believer, how you are in this life is how you're going to be in the spirit world. And you get somebody coming in there that they just ain't feeling it, they're not going to talk. But if you get someone that goes in there and they're, well, like me and my sisters, we'll go into a location and they're all over us, man. Probably because we're funny and we take it serious, but I never know what's going to come out of my sister's mouth. And we're live, and I'm like, you did not just say that. Please tell me. And I'm like, but the spirit will love it. They'll literally respond to what she says, and you'll hear it come through the spirit box, and they'll laugh. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So I think they like the energy. You get people that go in there too hardcore, they're too serious. I think they're not going to get as much.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you do to try, kind of, not taking it too terribly seriously, but what are some of the other things that you do to try and draw these spirits out to communicate with you?
Depends on where I'm going. I used to do a lot of spirit writing. I would go in. I still don't, to this day, don't want to know nothing about the location. I might know where I'm going, and I'm not one that's going to sit and look up things. I don't do that. I don't want to know nothing. If someone says, hey, we got this going on our location, will you come? I said, please don't tell me what's going, you can tell me what you're experiencing, but don't tell me who passed or anything. I want to know when I go there. I want to pick it up. I don't like to know the history, because if you go into a place knowing the history, in my opinion, you're going to be looking for what you already looked up, what you know, and there could be so much more there. So people will go into these locations. Oh, we know so-and-so was there and they died there, so they're going to be trying to communicate with them, and the other spirits over here like, hey, we're here. And they're being they're being forgot. At
106:08 on this recording, I thought I heard a moan or a growl or something. So I'm gonna
You know,
go back.
I heard that. I did hear it, but I didn't know if it was coming from your end.
It might have been me after I might have been, but it didn't sound like that to me, but it could have been.
There's children's spirits in this. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of dolls over here. Yeah, yes, I do, and I don't say dolls are I don't want to say they're haunted. Spirits do mess with the dolls. They can move. I mean, spirit can move things, so why couldn't they move a doll? You know,
Yeah,
they can move a doll. And then there's energies that's attached to a lot of these things that I have here, because some of them came from places I've investigated and captured them falling off of shelf, you know, and this room's very active with children, most definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you subscribe, because I mean, just here, I mean, you're just a lot of crazy things seem to happen to you as you're investigating and stuff, and it's very interesting to see. Some of the stuff that I've seen is really cool. So
yeah, and being a female too, we've had them. Now this is gonna sound crazy, but they've grabbed our butts. Yes. I had, yeah. I was investigating.
Was it at a prison?
No, actually it wasn't. We were at a bed and breakfast, and a nice one out in the country here in Ohio. I actually spent the night there by myself and investigated this huge place. You guys would thought I was crazy, but I did it. But it was at this location. There was a bar, and I had my ink box on, and I'm behind the bar communicating with spirit, and I felt something grab my butt, and I'm live too. And I said, "Oh, something just touched my butt, man." As soon as I said that, this guy came through my ink box, and he started laughing, and he said, but I knew. Yeah, and everybody heard it too. And I was like, I told you something about me.
Wow. That's the cool thing about doing live investigations and stuff like that, you're there by yourself, but you have so many other people there that can catch stuff too.
Oh yeah. You just never know what's going to happen. And when I go into a location, I don't want to know anything. I'll do 10 minutes of spirit writing, see what I get, and then I will see if it ties into the investigation as we're investigating, because I'm not one of these mediums that walk into a place and say, "Oh, there's a spirit right there." Oh, yeah. I don't do that. I'm not one of those. I tune in, tune out. I don't want to be completely open and where I'm just getting all this. I want to investigate. So if something's really bugging at me and and I want to pick up on it and say what it is, then I will. But I'm not one of those that constantly sit and do it unless something's really affecting me. And sometimes I'll do a walkthrough on a place and see what I get. I'll use my mediumship.
Yeah.
So,
what do you mean by spirit writing?
What I'm doing is channeling. I'm writing, so they're like using me as actually like a spirit board. I haven't done it in a long time. I should probably get back into doing it. I like to do different things. I used to do it a lot, but anyway, it's basically just writing. It's like spirit writing. I would just ask a question. They would come through me, and I'm just writing. I would write their names, what happened to them, how old they were, what year, just whatever they would come through.
Wow.
And listen, that's a dangerous thing, because you're opening yourself up. And I did have something bad happen. Oh, one time I should not have did it, and I did during an investigation. Have you ever heard of the school here in Ohio? Not Post Town. There's another one. I can't believe I can't remember. I've been to it so many times, but it's been a long time. But it's in Ohio. Very, very haunted school. I actually captured a black shadow figure there. But this was the first time we ever went there. And we had a Jacob's ladder running before we started our investigation. And they have this room. They call it the dark room. There's no windows in this room. It's just pitch black. And next to it, there's a library. Well, we had the Jacob's ladder running up there in that dark room for like a whole hour, while we're setting up cameras and stuff. We had a camera setting up in that dark room. Well, I decided that I wanted to go and get my spirit writing done before we started the investigation. Now, I also, as soon as we stepped on that property, as soon as I put my foot down on the ground, I felt it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is heavy here. And when I got into the school, it really was hitting me hard. So when I was doing the spirit writing, and I had my niece, I went live, and she's upstairs with me, and I'm next to the dark room where the Jacob's ladder is running, and we're in the library, and this was in the winter time. I'm channeling with this little girl, and she tells me how old she is and her name, and she said, stop. She told me to stop writing. And I said, why do you want me to stop? I don't want to stop. And I didn't stop. I kept going. And she was warning me. She told me what happened to her. She had fell down the stairs, and that was how she passed. And then later, a guy comes through, and it was a school teacher, and he made me feel what happened to him, guys. It got really bad. And everybody on the live could see me just going downhill fast. So the guy's coming through, and all of a sudden I start feeling numb. Like I was going numb, like the side of my face started going numb, and my hands were going numb, and my arms. And I was getting a little nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Because they kept telling me to stop. Well, the guy told me he died from a stroke. And you could see me, like I'm gasping for air. I'm like, guys, I don't know if I should be continuing, and everybody's watching this. They're like, Mandy, you need to stop. You need to stop. But I did this for like 10 minutes, and you could just see me going down fast. And so after that, we went downstairs, and we weren't live at this time. We ended that live, and we were going downstairs to begin the investigation. I start freaking out. I just went into a full-blown attack. I start crying. I start saying some crazy stuff. The children, there's a fire, the children. And I'm telling you, I just felt all these like energies just right up on me. I've never experienced something like that heavy before. I don't want to cry out there. I am sensitive, and sometimes it does affect me, but I'm not. If it hits me hard, and this hit me hard. And the guy that gives the tour there, he's seeing me, and he's like, oh my God, he goes, get her outside. And I'm just full blown crying, and they get me outside, and I'm like, get off me, because all these spirits were on me. And I'm just like, get off me. I didn't know what else to do. And I look up, guys. I look up into the window, and I see this black shadow. It looked like the outlining of maybe a child or someone short, just standing there, and it was gone. And I was like, oh my God, right? Well, about 10 minutes after getting myself together and I calmed down, I went back in. That guy told me, he said, every medium we've had come in here, they do the same thing you just did, and they can't be in here. And they start yelling the same thing you say. There's a fire and the children. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So later on that night, guys, we go into that room. Me and another guy go into that room, the dark room. We stopped the Jacob's ladder because that's a powerful thing that's kicking out a lot of energy. So that's the spirits are feeding off that energy. Well, we go into this room, nothing happens. But I sensed there was something in there, and I didn't feel like it was nice. I said to my partner there, I was like, yeah, nothing's happening. They're not doing anything. I said, yeah, let's go. I said, I know something's in here, but it doesn't want to communicate. So let's go. He walks out of the room first. I walk out behind him, and immediately something rushed up on me. And I said, oh my God, something just rushed up on me. Wasn't even a minute later, we're getting called on the radio. Where are you guys at? We just captured something on the camera. And I said, we're coming out of the dark room. We'll be down in a minute. And we got down there, and I told them guys what just happened. They said, well, check this out. We captured, you see us walk out. And as soon as I walk out, you see this black, dark, black as black. I mean, blacker than black. Like circles, like started off small, and it was weird shaped on the floor. And then it got bigger. And then it like right out the door. And this all happened right after we walked out. At the same time, I was experiencing that. So we captured it. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
insane.
dangerous, opening yourself up like that. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Did one of you two? Did you guys have somebody walking around in the background, like close the
No,
door?
but I heard something at 1 minute and 11 seconds, and or 1 hour and 11 minutes, and I'm going, I heard something.
Yeah, because I just heard like sounded like somebody walking and like getting something from a kitchen or something.
Oh, that's my
Anybody have-
daughter. That's
Okay,
my
okay,
daughter.
cool.
Okay, but I did hear
I was
whispering.
going to say, my husband is here. My husband's way in the back room bedroom. He's back there watching his TV.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I did hear a
him.
whisper.
He won't come out when I'm doing this.
Okay.
Okay. And I think I heard the same whisper.
Okay.
But that was at about an hour 14 though.
Okay.
Sometimes my lights will flicker in here.
Uh-huh. So
These lights will go in and out, and I know it's not my bulb. You know, just, I feel like it could be the bulb, but I know it's spirit. It's the lady in white. It's the lady in white. And
my son had that with his key fob for his car last night. It kept going off not the panic button. The car kept honking. And I'm thinking, oh, this is kind of cool. It ended up it was the battery. I changed the battery and it was fine. Like, dang it.
Yeah.
But I guess I should.
You always got to try to do things.
Yeah.
But you never know, because again, they use electronics. They do, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. This is just I mean, we can go on for hours and hours.
Mm-hmm. We could.
I talk a lot when it comes to the working out, or I got a lot of experience in working out because I'm a fitness person too. And knowing the paranormal, I've got so much I could tell you, go on and on, but I don't want to. I'll be here as long as y'all want me to be here, but whatever.
So you had mentioned the Reiki. That you do.
Yeah,
Reiki.
I'm a level 2. Yes, I'm a level 2 Reiki practitioner. And so I'm a healer. I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Yeah. I can touch objects and read them. I do a lot of big parties for people. I do events. I go to these huge parties. People will pay to have me come. I'll read objects, and I'll do an hour session. And then I'll turn on my ink box after I'm done connecting with spirit, and then we'll get voices coming through the ink box. So it's pretty cool. And I give people readings all over the world. So I'm not just somebody who's in the paranormal field that goes on investigation and, oh, I'm a medium. This is what I do on a daily basis. It's my job.
Wow. I mean, what a great job to have.
Yeah.
I do the Reiki. I do distant Reiki. I used to have my Reiki room set up in here, and I've done Reiki in here, but there's so many people across the world, and I do the distant Reiki, which is really cool.
That's incredible.
Do you find that, I don't know, more difficult than in person, or does it even matter really?
It doesn't matter. They teach you. They teach you how to do in person, and they teach you how to do the distant Reiki. And I've had really good feedback, and I've had multiple returning customers. They think they got to have it every month. It's like, whoa. But they love it, the way it makes them feel. And
have you ever done a reading for somebody that really just kind of made you feel like you I don't want to say saved this person, or really got them to know something that they really didn't know, and that just had a really good feeling from that?
I've had multiple things. It's crazy, guys, the things that have happened. Now there wasn't, listen, when I tell you these spirits be bugging me, waking me up, calling me on my phone, texting, no joke, messaging me, and the craziest things that I have, nobody would believe it, but I'm here to tell you, it's really happened to me. one of my sessions with a lady, I was giving her a reading, and I had just picked up on everything that was going on with her, everything. She lost her husband. They had a fight, and she packed all his things up and had him sitting on the porch. And that guy got into a car accident and died.
Oh,
you want to talk about a spirit that was restless? Yes, very restless. And I've never had this happen before. And during this reading with this lady on video, I come to the end of the reading because I only do an hour or half an hour when I'm doing my appointments are that long. Mm-hmm. We come to the very end, and I said, I thought you said you was alone. She goes, well, I am, just me and my friend. My friend's sitting right here next to me. We are the only ones here. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, I just seen a man walk right behind you, clear as day. And I said, I described him. He had a red hat on and he had a white t-shirt on. And I told her that. And I said, he was real stocky. And I kind of felt like it was her husband. And when I told her that, she freaked out because he was cremated, and no, they never put it online on what he was wearing. Nobody knew except for the people who was there at his whatever they're celebrating life.
Yeah.
And she said, there's no way you knew that, Mandy. I said, your husband is in this house. I said, oh my God. So it gets freakier, right? He wanted me to continue talking to him. And I was like, I'm done. He drained me. Well, I'm like, no, I'm wiped out. So me and my husband were asleep. I get this weird like call on Messenger. You ever hear your phone when it rings on Messenger? It's very weird. It's weird. Mm-hmm. And it wakes me up. I'm like, what the hell is this? And my husband's like, what the hell? I look over, and it's that lady who I just given a reading to. And I didn't answer. It's 6 a.m. I'm like, look, I'm calling her when I wake up. And my husband's like, who is that, Mandy? I said, oh, it's that lady, you know, the one I told you I seen her dead husband walk by. I said, it's her. I said, I hope she's okay. So I wake up, guys, and I message her because I seen 6 times she had called. So I messaged her and I said, hey, is everything all right? I see you've been calling me. I said, I just woke up. And she was on break when I messaged her. She was at work. She said, oh my God, Mandy. She goes, I'm just now seeing this. She goes, Mandy, my phone has been in my locker since 6 o'clock this morning. We ain't allowed to have our phones out there. We lock our phones up. And she says, oh my God. And I knew when she said it wasn't her, I said, oh my God, I know who's calling me. I said, it's your husband. I said, he wants me to continue talking to him. And I'm going to tell you, and she booked more appointments after that. It got crazy. So she told me what happened to her. So that night I was getting the phone calls.
Yeah.
She told me when she got up that morning to go to work, she was hearing somebody crying in her apartment. She was hearing crying. It was a duplex that she lived in. So she said, I was hearing somebody crying, Mandy. And she goes, and when I went downstairs into my kitchen, all my cupboard doors were open, and it freaked her out. And then I'm telling her that I believe it's her husband who's calling me. And it turned out that it was him. He had unsettled business. She kicked him out when he had passed. And it was horrible, guys. We ended up going over there doing an investigation. And I'm going to tell you right now, that man came through that spirit box so clear. This is why I love
really?
That box. Yes, they'd be talking clear through this box. He said his name clear as day. He said, Preston. Everybody heard it on the live, and she heard it. I mean, it was nonstop. And I'm not one of these mediums that claim they can move over spirits. I'm not saying it can't be done, but that's not what I do. I'm there to pass on the messages with spirit, to connect with spirit and talk to them and say whatever that they want me to say, I guess. And that's just not my job. So he was with her for the longest time, but that was crazy.
Wow. That's why I keep my phone on silent all night.
I was just like, what is going on, man? Why is she blowing my phone up 6 a.m?
Well, I hope he got everything out that he needed to say and communicate correctly.
It just went on and on, guys. It went on for months and months and months with him.
Wow.
Yeah, and I told her eventually I didn't sense him as much. I felt like he must have decided to move on, but it took him a long time before he decided to go wherever he went.
Wow.
So it was just unfinished business, you know?
Yeah. Do you do a lot of private investigations like that?
Yes, I do all mine. I only like private. I don't like to go to like, I don't even really do a lot of collaborations. I do and I don't. I like small crowds because I know spirit loves it when it's just like, if it's just me, I'm good. Or if it's just me and another person, I'm good because I'm like, we're going to get some stuff tonight, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you got too many people, depending where everybody's at, you're going to have, if other people are in the building, you're going to get noises and you're not going to know if it's them unless everybody's in one spot.
Right.
So
I meant more of going to somebody's home who has some incidents there that they need you to help out with.
You mean a residential case? Residential cases?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
What was your question? What was the
do you
question
do many of
about
those?
that?
Do you do many residential cases?
Yes, I'm actually doing one tomorrow night too.
Really?
But I'm very picky about my residential cases. Because if I took on every residential case, somebody messages me saying they heard the door or footsteps, or they just feel someone's watching, I'd be one busy girl, busier than I am now.
Busier than you are now.
So I've learned throughout the years. Yeah, doing the residentials, what I do is I will. It has to be an emergency. It's got to be serious. Like you're terrified to be in your home. I prefer them to show me evidence if they can. If not, I want to know how long has it been going on. So there's a whole list. Are you on medications? I'm going through the whole list. You know, have you been locked up? I go through the list. So, but yeah, we do a lot sometimes.
That's awesome that you do that. And I mean, what a gifted person you are too. I mean, this has been just amazing. This is
incredible. Thank you so much.
Yes. And real quick,
well,
Mandy,
thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad we finally were able to schedule this. Real quick, where can people find you and get in touch with you if they want to?
So if you're looking for mediumship or Reiki, you can contact me on Facebook under Intuitive Medium Mandy. If you are wanting to watch live investigations, you can contact me, you can follow me on Ghost Sisters on Facebook. You can also follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But we only go live on 3 of our social medias, and that's YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook.
Okay. And I'll have all those links and stuff in the I'll try and get them in the chat. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to watch my own show when this airs. But I'll make sure I have everything in the show notes and everything for you so that people can get in touch with you and watch all your awesome investigations. And guys, do it. I mean, I highly recommend it. It's awesome stuff. But all right, Mandy, thank you so much for spending an hour and a half almost kind of freaking us out a little bit.
I loved every second of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
can't wait.
It
was.
It seemed like it's been an hour and a half. It goes so fast.
No, it was. It was,
like,
every time I'm listening to you, I keep thinking, if you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. And it sounds like you absolutely love what you do, and it shows, I think.
Oh, it's my passion. I know this is what I was meant to do. I truly know this. Everything lined up for me, and here we are.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Guys, make sure you check her out on all of her platforms and everything. So, and thank you all for watching. And again, I hope everybody put if they saw stuff that happened on here that we didn't catch, hope you put it in chat, and I will go back and look at it, and we'll see what we can find and everything. And it's happened before. So everybody, thanks again for watching. Like I said, we will be back live next Saturday. So have a great week, and we will see you guys later. Natalie and Mandy, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.